Well, what is going on, everybody? Welcome everybody, into the Overreaction Buffalo Postgame Show, brought to you by the BFLO Store, the official retail store of the Buffalo Bills on the Overreaction Sports Network, powered by Believe. My name is Joe Miller, and you can find me on Twitter at Joe Miller Wired, alongside my two awesome co-hosts, former Buffalo Bills John Fina and Jerry Ostroski. You can find them on Twitter at Ostroski_Big O and at John Fina. Please do us a favor. Please please subscribe, whatever platform you are consuming this vidcast on right now. If it's on Facebook, if it's on YouTube, wherever it's at, please throw us a like, a thumbs up. Please subscribe if you can. And if you miss any of our content, always know that you can find all of it on any podcast platform you want to search. Just search Overreaction Buff, and you'll get right to it. Also, we have a website, www.overreactionbuffalo.com. You're going to want to check that out. But it is so good to have every single one of you guys joining us right now, all of you that are piling into the comment section, the chat. Happy Victory Monday, Bills Mafia. The Buffalo Bills dominate the San Francisco 49ers on Sunday Night Football 35-10 and move to 10-2. I don't know when the last time they were 10-2. John, you may have been on the team. Maybe not. Maybe never. I haven't heard yet.
I don't know.
Yeah, but they clinch the AFC East title for the 5th consecutive season, and Josh Allen moves ahead of former Buffalo Bills quarterback and Hall of Famer Jim Kelly with 247 total touchdowns. I believe that's the number. I don't know if they're going to fantasy double counts that touchdown as a receiving and a passing. I don't know if football statistics is going to double count it. Maybe if they double count it, it's 248. Regardless, a picturesque game played in a snow globe on a December night in Orchard Park, New York. Gentlemen, how are you feeling after this contest?
I have an answer for you, by the way.
Oh, all right.
Mike Kingsley is he wins the prize. The first time was when John was a rookie. They were 10-2.
Nope.
Were you not there in 91?
He was a senior.
That was your year, buddy. We were both 92.
I thought, okay. I'm confused.
Oh, my CTE.
I'm confused. I thought 91 was when we graduated. It's 92? Okay, whatever. I'm ecstatic, by the way. I think it was great. The Bills did what they needed to do. Obviously, the only comment I have to make doesn't have to do with the Bills. It has to do with the 49ers. I love Shanahan. I think he's a great offensive mind. I think he schemes up stuff great.
Agreed.
Why the hell he decided to go away from the run and start making passes? If I was Shanahan, it had been like that game when we played the Patriots at home, where the Patriots, I think, ran it every play but one.
Yeah.
I'd have ran, even with McCaffrey out there having success, I'd have ran it every play, but so be it. But no, just a very dominating performance by the Bills. And even in bad weather and terrible field conditions, Josh Allen finds a way to do miraculous things.
And I don't know. Hang on, John, 2 seconds. I put it in the Discord chat, and I don't know if anybody answered it. Did he throw a pass at the point that I had said it over 15 yards by that time? Like 3/4 of the game, I don't think he threw a pass. Everything was a check down. Everything was just a screen pass for a check down. So I agree with you on that point. Go ahead, John.
Well, I was just going to say I love Brock Purdy. Arizona native, went to Iowa State Cyclone, big fan. But they saw Josh Allen having some success throwing the ball. Maybe they thought, oh, we got our guy. He could do it too. But Josh is a different breed, man. He was incredible. What a hell of a game. I mean, and so much going on right now. Duke, bowl eligible, got their 9th win. Owen Ostroski coming out in the portal. But I do, before I get started, everybody sitting in your cars right now at Highmark Stadium, please be careful. Text somebody, tell them to tune in, listen to the show while you sit there, let the car defrost, but be careful going home and celebrate this win by being smart behind the wheel. And, I'm really concerned for a lot of people because that was some dreadful weather.
Yeah. I felt like the game played out exactly the way that I thought it would. It's funny because you go into games, and all content creators do it, and I think most fans that really enjoy the science and the ballet that is football do it. You have this idea, this preconceived notion of what the game is going to be like. And it was like, for me, the Niners are going to come out, they're going to bow their chest or bow their back, they're going to puff out their chest, and they're going to be strong early. And then I figured towards the 3rd and 4th quarter, they would begin to wane. The weather, the cold, the 4-hour trip or 5-hour trip across the country, the records being what they were. And I just felt like the Bills would eventually overcome them. I did not expect it to happen as quickly in this game as it did. They came out in that first drive, and then after that, I don't want to say they headed for the bus. That's not an accurate description, but the game turned, in my opinion, kind of quickly.
Well, I think the big part of it is, I mean, just then they started turning the ball over, and when just things kind of, the appropriate term would be, they snowballed, right?
Yeah, they snowballed. What's
know.
funny about it is when you get I apologize, Jerry, where I was going with that was like you get that preconceived notion of what's going to happen in the game, and then they start doing the lineups, and the guys start announcing themselves, and it's like Brock Purdy, Christian McCaffrey, Deebo Samuel, George Kittle. I'm like, everybody in this team is stacked. But yeah, then I got nervous, and then it happened. But yeah.
And
I'm glad I didn't have to go to my nervous stance a single time in the entire game. I got my thing where I go. It's like if last resort, get into the position.
Mimi, you need to tweet a picture of you mimicking John's dad's nervous stance right now. So
I didn't have to use it, and it's a secret. Nobody knows what it is.
Mimi's got to know. There's no way Mimi doesn't know. McKenna knows all of my nervous tics. Jerry, you were going to say something.
No, I was just going to say that it was, obviously the defense was having some issues early stopping the run. I think the 49ers helped them stop it, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
We talked about that a minute ago, but it was just it was a good performance. I mean, it's really, what can you say about it?
Yeah. Before we continue any further, we have a new sponsor for the Overreaction post-game show. It is the BFLO Store. Let's hear a real quick ad from them.
Shopping for that special gift? The BFLO Store is the perfect place to begin for any occasion. You'll discover the largest selection of Buffalo products and brand collabs not available anywhere else. From licensed team sportswear and gifts to Buffalo apparel and home decor, shop any of our convenient locations or shop online. You'll find something for everyone. And you just never know who you may see shopping there. The BFLO Store, Western New York's premier retail destination. Official retailer of the Buffalo Bills and Sabres.
Check out the BFLO Store for all your Buffalo and Bills gear. Now through December 12th, you can get 25% off your purchase of $50 or more in the store. Stop in at any 4 of their locations. I thought it was just 3. Transitown Plaza, Boulevard Consumer Square, McKinley Mall, and Walden Galleria. Visit www.bfloshop.com for more info. The BFLO Store, official retailer of the Buffalo Bills. This game... Jerry, before I went to the commercial break there, you had said that you felt like the 49ers stopped the run for the Bills. And I somewhat agree. And I guess the question is, and it came up in the chat and it was coming up on Twitter as well. It felt like the defensive line was, I don't want to say it felt like that they were losing the battles up front and maybe some of the fits weren't there. Did either of you happen to catch kind of what was going on early? Because it felt like at some point the Bills were just maybe letting them get those runs. Like, you want to run it? We're going to invite it. Go ahead.
Well, some of it is that. Some of it is the 4-2-5 that they play. Okay, and the 49ers to get into some heavy sets. You bring Johnson into the box, but still you have the issue with size and some things like that. The other issue is you have a field that is incredibly slick, and you've got a defensive line that is all about quickness and getting off the ball. Now that neutralizes what they do well. Plus the fact they're not super big bodies, and it's just a bad formula between the defensive style, the field conditions, and just, you take away the strengths of that defensive front for Buffalo. It was hard on them, but they eventually, figured it out a little bit and, did some good things.
Yeah, I would agree with you, Jerry. I think when you're playing on a surface like that, you're very tentative to begin with, and it's not just that you're not anchoring your position. It's that any movement laterally, a foot can slip, groin can pull. I mean, you lock up a little bit. And I think it took a little time, and then we started having some stronger run support from the second level, and we started, I think, playing a little bit more on the edge of guys, and we weren't taking them straight on. But you saw even the Buffalo Bills had great success when we were hat on a hat. It's just impossible to disengage after you've had a guy on you, right? Now, if you take an angle, you're already playing a gap, so to speak. But when you're head to head with a guy in that kind of footing, disengaging is super hard.
Yeah, Pamela says losing McCaffrey helped, and I put that very same sentiment in the Discord chat. Whoopsies, in the Discord chat. He's so explosive. He's so good. I mean, he you could argue he's the best running back in the NFL and has been for several years, despite the injury history that he has. And we have no idea what happened. Mike Kingsley actually texted me at one point. He's like, "Oh, I think maybe he blew out his Achilles." And I was like, "Well, he wouldn't have run off the field if he blew his Achilles." So that's definitely, it doesn't mean it's not torn. Super concerned, but as much as the complexity of the game changed a little bit there with McCaffrey going out, their backup running back, I felt, still was finding success early on against the Bills, to Jerry's point. And then they just decided to stop running the football, which I know you're down. Where do you go from there? You're in a nuisance of an environment with the Bills fans, right? It's colder. San Francisco gets cold, but not that cold. You're in a snow globe. There's 3 inches of snow on the field. You're playing a menace in Josh Allen, who is making throws on a football field in that weather that people don't make, to Mike Tirico's point. Or no, it's Chris Collinsworth, I think, that said it. He's making superhero plays that are almost off the cuff, in the sense of he didn't need to make them, and he's out there making them. Like, as a player, you go to the sideline, what do you do?
Honestly, addressing your first point earlier, McCaffrey's been out for a while, and Mason is a very good back. Yeah. And in this type of environment, it was downhill run that was the most successful. Now, we had a toss, we had a little bit of stuff on the edge. Late in the game, we pulled left and we got out in the edge. But beyond that, I think that the game plan that won for both teams early on was carrying the ball straight into the line of scrimmage. And I think this was just really kind of a freaking cool game to watch Josh in adverse conditions, managing the offense brilliantly. So many people got touches, so many people got catches, and he was patient and he was smart, and he threw it away when he needed to, and he made the throws that, like you said, and I won't quote the other guy, just insane throws in conditions where, other guys might not look so damn good.
I think the other big thing is, you look at San Francisco, they had some drives going and they were moving the ball, but again, the Buffalo Bills, no turnovers in horrible weather. San Francisco, 3 turnovers. Buffalo now, I believe, plus 17 in the turnover ratio right now, number 1 in the league. So you put that and tie that together with a team that went 6 of 12 on third down, so better than, they were 50% in horrible weather. So the key stats to winning games, the Bills did well. San Francisco, shot themselves in the foot with turnovers and those things. I think their third down percentage was not very good at all. So you look at this, and it's that perfect mixture for a big win.
What is it about? So McKenna looked at me at one point. I don't remember what the score was, but the Bills had the game in hand, and she's like, with Shanahan and the 49ers doing as bad as they are, is he in danger of being fired? And I said, I don't think so. I was like, Shanahan is a quality coach. And through the broadcast, over and over again, missing so many players. You can only lose so many players, and missing so many players. And McKenna said it. She's like, the Bills lost a whole bunch of players too, and we're 10-2 at this point. We've gotten them all back, other than 2 right now.
Right, they're all back.
So what is it? Like, what is going on with that football team? Like, what is going on with the San Francisco 49ers?
Let me address the first part. I don't think Shanahan's going anywhere. He's got too much history of success. He's got too much buy-in from the administrative side of things. I think, you get him through a couple more draft cycles. And yes, just because we overcame injuries, McKenna, doesn't mean that everybody else does. But we have a special group in a number of different ways, right? We've got a hell of a guy playing quarterback for us. Yeah. We have a wide receiver room now that seems to be and appears to be comfortable sharing the ball. We don't have a front runner that we have to deliver it to. We've got a trio of running backs who seem very pleased to get their touches, despite what any content creators want to say about who should be running back 1 or get the bulk of the carries. And then a defense that is, I think, anchored by the secondary, which, I think might be a little shocking for us to talk about, considering we were concerned about the safety position more than anything else. But they're just playing opportunistic and aggressive football on defense. And it's a little patient. It's a little ugly. It's a little soft sometimes. But when teams get into the red zone, they deliver, man. It's just so freaking cool to watch.
And I think that, and one of the posters, Mike Kingsley put it up there. He talked about depth, and I think there's some of that, but also too, and kind of to speak on the injury thing, we're not talking about guys that are good players. We're talking about Trent Williams, who's a first ballot Pro Bowler, or
Agreed.
not Pro Bowler, first ballot Hall of Famer. We're talking about Christian McCaffrey, who some consider the best back in the league. We're talking about Brock Purdy, their starting quarterback, a guy that took them to the Super Bowl. We're talking about Greenway. We're talking about Ayuk. These are different levels of injuries. This isn't just guys. This is their core, their base dudes, like the guys they win football games with are the ones that are out. So you might be able to handle one or two of those, and we have done that in Buffalo, but at no time did we have a just onslaught of our Pro Bowl type players out at the same time like San Francisco has. And it's just, knock on wood, it's just hard to overcome.
Yeah,
agreed. But we've got a plug and play mentality, I think, where it's either Joe Brady or it's Josh Allen that we're able to distribute across running backs, receivers, tight ends. And you know what? We haven't said it yet, but we've got a hell of an offensive line.
Yes, I think it comes back to Mike's point though about depth. I mean, and I don't mean depth. It's a weird, the depth in this scenario is weird because nobody has depth, to Jerry's point, to lose like legit future Hall of Famers,
right,
all pro players, versus the depth that the Bills have when you lose some of the guys that we've lost. Aside from the 5 captains, right, that we jettisoned, I mean, there's something to be said for that too. I mean, the Bills lose Mitch Morse, they lose Stephon Diggs, they lose Gabe Davis, they lose Micah Hyde, they lose Jordan Poyer. I mean, there's a lot of guys lost, but then the injuries, it's the depth levels are different. So it's Dorian Williams isn't that far off, even as a second-year player. I'm going to say it than Matt Milano. Matt Milano is obviously an All-Pro. But Dorian Williams is learning the position. I don't know what the answer is. It's just,
and Richard puts up the better team won today. Yes.
True.
The way the rosters looked and everything. Yes, they did. But there ain't a damn person in this chat that was sitting there analyzing the schedule in September or August or whenever the schedule came out that was like, oh yeah, we're better than the 49ers. We're going to beat their ass. I mean,
this was a game that worried. This
worried me. This worried me from jump. If the Niners are healthy, this is a different deal now. I'm not saying we can't win it, but this is a different deal. And I don't think anybody, because you remember McCaffrey started the year on the IR.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think anybody, Ayuk had the long holdout, then comes back, then gets hurt. But I don't think anybody has seen the Niners at full strength yet. Because there haven't been, and they won't be, because they've got so many people. And if the injury to McCaffrey, and I think the reason why the Achilles is brought up was because he had that you always see the violent calf shake when it goes, and he had that in slow motion when he went out. You're probably not going to see him again for the rest of the season, possibly.
It would make sense for them to not bring him back at this point. Were they 5-7? Not 5. Is it 5-7 they are now? I think they're 5-7. Yeah. At this point, you sit him down, right? You let him heal and get ready for next year. What is the biggest difference? It's an abstract question. What is the biggest difference between the Buffalo Bills in 2020, 2021, 2022, and 2023? And they talked about it on the broadcast, and this team. Why do they just seem so, even with, I'm going to use the phrase lesser talent, even with lesser talent on this roster, they look way better. Is it a buy-in thing?
I think they're playing better team football. I don't think they're sitting there especially on offense. I don't think they're all looking around at 17 saying, bail us out. Right. There's no, I'm going to run my route this way, knowing that Josh is going to have to force the ball to Diggs to make him happy. I think this is a team. This is a full-blown team effort. This team loves one another. This team gets along. This is team football, complementary football, as McDermott likes to say, across the board. And I think that is the biggest difference.
I completely agree with you with that, Jerry. And I would add, I just think Joe Brady's doing a hell of a job.
Yes, he is.
I really do. I think he's just, His
Both.
play calling.
Babbage as well. Babbage as well. They both
We're
are.
just talking about the offense, but
Yeah.
I think he's just, when we say complementary football, what we're talking about is situational play calling.
Yes.
And he has such a better feel than the previous two guys, I think, in my opinion. I think he just has a really good knack for knowing this is a run. This is the type of run based on what we believe the defense is going to be. And we're taking what we can get. And to your point, Joe, earlier, this particular game is not a great example because of the snow, but we're not trying to heave the ball 25 yards down the field.
But
We've got guys.
He did, though.
He did on a couple of occasions, but we're getting the ball to our playmakers in that 8 to 14 yard range and just letting them be guys.
Right.
No, I agree with John. And I know exactly what he's saying. To me, Dorsey was not a system guy. I think that Brady has a system. I think his play calling is complementary across the board, run and pass. And I don't believe with Dorsey there was that much. It was more, I've got a play that's going to win. And then we'll just go to another play that's going to win. And the complementary mesh between the running game and the passing game was definitely not there when he was calling plays. Now Brady has found that, and everything he does has similar looks. They could be pass and run, but they look similar. They all mesh well together. And I will say this, and if the rumors are true, enjoy him while you have him because he probably won't be here very long. And we'll be trying to find another one.
Would you say it's a little bit more like chess than checkers, right? Checkers, you want to go for the 5 jump, get kinged, kill the opponent, right? But in chess, you really gotta strategize. You got to use the pawns. You get the bishop out.
It's like playing spades, man. You're going to, you got more than the other guy, so you got to get his used up because of it don't matter what you got in your hand, you're going to have more than the other cat. And I think
Jerry, you're bringing back bad Boo-Ray memories.
I was hoping you were going to go there. That's what I was trying to lead you into.
If I am a Western New York native, which I am, I grew up playing euchre, and then I went to college and learned spades. And I will stand on the hill that says spades is far more of a strategic game than euchre. Euchre, you get dealt 5 cards, and it is what it is. Spades, if you get trash, you can at least do something with the trash that you have.
Yeah, but you should play Boo-Ray, Joe. It even goes one or two steps further.
Boo-Ray? What is Boo-Ray?
You know what, Joe? Joe, don't ask. Next time we're in town, just show up with a few $100. We'll teach you.
Yeah.
I'm not a former NFL player. I don't have $200. What are you talking about? Super funny.
Yeah.
When you look at the touchdowns in this football game and just the way that they came, some of them were expected. I feel like some of them weren't expected, especially that. I mean, obviously the surprise, Josh Allen turning literally into Superman on that play, like what just happened moment. But the long run from James Cook was just a relief to see because he has that ability to pull away from a defense. It just never seems to come for him, right? It just, for some reason, he always gets caught or however the play develops. But looking at the touchdowns and just what you saw tonight from this football game, was there anything that stuck out to you in that realm?
Well, I really enjoyed the Mac Hollins touchdown, because that was early, kind of game breaking. I think everybody was a little bit, on the edge of their snow seat, given that, they came out, they kicked the field goal on the first drive. We didn't do anything on our first drive.
Right.
And then Mac Hollins, I can't remember if that was the first or second score. Somebody tell me, but it just looked so slick. Like we were playing in a 60-degree day, sunny skies. It was, to me, that was satisfying. When I saw that score, I was like, I got a really good feeling about this game.
Before Jerry calls me out, because that's why he's laughing. Literally, Josh rolls to the sideline, and I yell, "Throw it away!" And Josh throws it to Mac Hollins, who catches it. And McKenna sits forward and goes, "Throw it away, huh?"
Well, I don't know if you know this or not, but McKenna's already signed up. She's part of the Mac Hollins fan club that I'm the president of.
Well, now there's 2 of you.
That there's she's one of the founding members. I mean, it's a great play, but I think, it's funny you talk about Mac Hollins and we joke about him, but it's like there's a prime example. And, we're talking about this team and what makes them different than in the past. And I think one thing McDermott has done really, really well as an older coach, as a guy that's been a part of the old school style, is athletes nowadays all want to be part of a team, but they have to have their individuality in the middle of the team. And if you're one of those dudes that tries to beat individuality out of these players, it does not work. And hey, man, Cat showed up in what? Bill Nye the Science Guy winter outfit with no shoes on today. And it was, whatever. No big deal. Have at it. Come on in. So it just goes to show you that you can change a little bit. And I think that's one thing McDermott's done really well is he's allowed these dudes to have individuality where maybe other coaches wouldn't.
It was on the pregame show. So it was as a leadership guy and a guy that loves quotes and things like that and tries to live by a lot of those leadership quotes. They asked Josh Allen, who's the former quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys that was also a coach, not Garrett, the red-haired guy. Why is my brain not working all of a sudden?
Jason Garrett?
Jason Garrett. It is Garrett. Yeah, Jason Garrett interviewed Josh Allen, and they asked him about that, and he said that there's a great culture inside of their locker room that I can be me, but do it with we, right?
Yes.
So you can bring individuality, but you've got to do it with us. And it goes back to the 17-year drought for me in the NFL for the Buffalo Bills, and hearing over and over again before podcasting was even really a thing about how culture is not real and momentum is not real and like all of these things that aren't real. The two of you have been on a lot of different versions of football teams, both in college and in the pros. Talk about that if one of you would like to, just that idea of I can be me, but I've got to do it with we versus playing from an individual standpoint, a la Stephon Diggs, right? Who plays very much. I think he presents the idea of team, but very much plays for self, right?
Well, I'll say this. I think what you said earlier really rings true. If Sean McDermott doesn't feel like he has to have a thumb on every personality and lock everybody down, as long as they aren't causing a distraction, then everyone feels a little bit of freedom and they can kind of self-police, right? So if somebody gets a little out of control, you can kind of be like, hey, dude, pull back, tone it down a little bit. But the second part of that is I really believe, from what I can tell, from behind my computer screen here, Josh's level of leadership has matured greatly, and it has matured through, now his third offensive coordinator. And I think that sort of brings his personality out, that the coordinator is letting him be himself, but giving him a canvas that he can work with instead of trying to refine him too much. Right. I don't know if that makes sense, but when the quarterback's happy, when he's a good leader, when the head coach has a good confidence in the locker room, it grows. It grows organically, and you get the culture that we talk about. And when people say culture doesn't matter, momentum doesn't matter, guys like Jerry and I just kind of start looking out of the side of our eyes going,
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. For 17 years in this town, there were legit people that were like, it's not real. Culture's not real. Momentum is not real. These are words that we use as fans that aren't real things.
But the thing is, I think the secret to the whole thing is the best teams are player-led teams. When you have healthy player-led teams, they're the best teams. Now, there's coaches out there that'll say the best teams are player-led teams, and then everything they do is to pound their authority into their players and snatch them up and just, tie up every moment of time that they have. I don't see that with this group. I don't see this with McDermott, and I think that this is a very strong player-led team by a bunch of different personalities. Deion's wearing snow goggles on the sidelines. I think it was awesome.
It was amazing.
I mean, it was classic. Josh does Josh. I mean, it's just one of those things where, they have a healthy respect for one another, and it's obviously showing up on the field.
Well, Josh going over to Codrington when his punt return for a touchdown is called back on the hold, and like they cut to him, and he obviously uses an expletive, right? Blah blah whatever F, and then but it's just a bizarre conversation. Codrington is a rookie, undrafted rookie in the NFL, traded from the Jets to the Buffalo Bills. He's been a valuable member of this team for the most part this year. He's done a great job. He has a punt return for a touchdown, gets called back, and Josh Allen is coming over to you, right? not to console you, but to be just to bro you up and be like, great job. That's unfortunate. Mike Kingsley, who was apparently the star of the show tonight, corrected me on my quote, and he's right. It was BU, but with us, which I like my version better, but I can be me, but with we, but just because mine rhymes. But yes,
we'll give it to you, Joe. We'll give it to you.
I know some of the backstory, and we're gonna get into the stats here in a minute. And I don't know if you guys want to go there, and a no is a simple answer, but you went from Marv to Wade, and Wade was a great coach, to Greg, right? and I know, Jerry, and what brought me here was what you just said about the coach snatching. I don't remember exactly how you said it, just like a lot of that stuff. Do either of you care to briefly just talk about that player-led mentality when you look at Marv's team and Wade's team versus when Greg Williams came in and said, we will be the best defense ever? And I think he said it twice, ever, in the Greg Williams voice. But yeah.
I'll just start with something very simple, but my basic answer is no. I don't want to answer it, but
it's fine. It's fair.
Look, you could relate to Marv. You could walk up to Marv and have a conversation, and he would use some self-deprecating humor and kid around and joke around. Wade was the same way. Wade was a player's coach. He loved athletes. Greg, you always felt like you were A, being lectured, or B, being taught, or D, kind of being ignored. And if you don't connect with the guy,
right,
there was a missing connection, a personality issue where I was kind of like, he probably should just be a D coordinator.
Jerry, before you go, there's a point of read the room for you guys, right? Because you're there, Jerry's there. I think Kent still there. There's Super Bowl players in the room right now, right? As far as read the room a little bit. Go ahead, Jerry. Sorry.
I think that one thing that Marv and Wade were very, very cognizant of, and Greg was not. Marv and Wade both realized the NFL is a player-driven league. And while coaching is important, we will be good because I've got a locker room with a bunch of, future Hall of Famers in it.
Right.
Greg thought that he invented football, and he was the reason why the team was really, really good. And therein lies the difference. Wade and Marv treated you like men, and if you made a mistake, they handled it. You weren't getting blasted in front of everybody else. You might, if you got a call into the office, it was very, very kind of, behind the scenes and quiet. Most of the time you just looked at your check and it was $5,000 lighter. Right. But, Greg was always the center of attention where the other two guys were not.
All Greg invented were bounties and bounty games.
Well, look, I want to add just one last thing. We could put that to bed. From the offensive line perspective, you cannot hire a guy for an offensive line coach who literally, Jerry and I at the time, have forgotten more about offensive line play than that guy will ever know. And I mean, our respect for that, I was just like, are you kidding me? You gave us this guy. Like, no one can play for this guy.
That's funny. Let's move on to the game stats, if that's all right with you guys. And I apologize for bringing up a bad subject, but it's relevant. It's relevant just because of the transition that we've seen this team take, and to John's point, just about an approachable coach that you can joke with. And as much as, before I get to the stats, as much as statuesque as Sean McDermott is, and I've encountered Sean McDermott in person, and he's actually very nice and very smiley as far as that goes. But when you see him on the field, who he is, there's a video of the dude doing snow angels on the football field after this game. So if we're having a conversation about being approachable as a head coach, Sean McDermott was doing snow angels on the football field right before his interview, which is absolutely insane. In this football game, Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills, 13 of 17. I haven't done the math yet. Anybody want to guess? John, you're really smart. What's 13 of 17? What's the percentage?
I agree.
76%, which Josh has hit that number many times this season. 13-17 for 148 yards, 2 touchdowns. Mitch Trubisky, I was more surprised
that they let him throw it at all.
Yes.
I was like, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Mitch Trubisky comes in the game and McKenna goes, prepare for an interception. And I was like, they're not going to let him throw the football. Like, that's not going to happen. Sure enough, he rolls out and throws a pass. He's 1 for 1 for 4 yards. James Cook, 14 carries for 170 yards. Obviously had the long one for a touchdown. Ray Davis, 11 for 63 with a touchdown, which was a great touchdown, by the way. Ty Johnson, 5 of 28. Josh Allen, 3 for 18. Curtis Samuel, 1 for 7. And Mitchell Trubisky, 4 for -3 yards. That's not a great number, but it is what it is. Receiving, Dawson Knox, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then Zach Davison was targeted, 9 targets in this football game by the Buffalo Bills in a weather game, right? So Dawson Knox was 2 for 56 for 28 yard average. Khalil Shakir, even the balls that I think are impossible to catch, the last catch he had, the last reception Khalil Shakir has in a snow game, it's 24 degrees outside and it's snowing. He dives out and like snags the ball with his hands. And I thought for sure when he went to go get it, this is going to be a drop. He catches it. Have you ever seen anything like this?
Yeah, because I live on the West Coast and Boise State played every game at 10 o'clock at night. And I'm laying in bed watching freaking Boise State. And I'm going, this guy's amazing. Just like I was watching Josh Allen because Wyoming played at 10 o'clock at night. And I was like, this guy's amazing.
It's just unbelievable how good he is. And again, you guys can stop me at any point in time. But Quentin Morris, 1 for 14. Jerry's favorite guy, Quentin Morris. You're right, Jerry. Quentin is a good player. You said it in the Discord.
Very good player, man. And he's a guy that when you can always rely on. I mean, he makes big plays and big, in needed situations. He's a special teamer. He blocks his ass off. I mean, hell of a player. 100%.
James Cook, 1 of 13. Amari Cooper, 3 for 12. Ty Johnson, 1 of 9. Matt Collins, 1 of 7 with the touchdown. Josh Allen, 0 receptions, 7-yard touchdown catch. Figure that stat out. Ray Davis. Yeah.
They're scratching their heads. They're like, how do we categorize this?
Exactly. So super.
You know how you categorize it? It's going to be wallpaper on cell phones all over Buffalo.
Can I say something?
Yes.
Who the hell is Jalen Virgil?
Steve Tasker's twin. So Jalen Virgil is a wide receiver call-up that I believe got his first game 3 games ago, and it was a big surprise because he got a call-up before all the preseason dudes that we all thought were good, like Terrell Shavers. We were all like, these are the dudes, and then that guy Virgil comes up, and we're like, that's Steve Tasker.
That's what I said.
But he made a great play.
I think everybody played in this game. Is that stat in there, Joe? I think everybody got a snap.
I'm going to say I don't think Dick Garage played, but it is what it is. So that's my favorite name in football. My favorite name as a kid was Biff Pocorobo. Do you guys know who Biff Pocorobo is or was? He's not dead, I'm sure. He was a catcher for the Atlanta Braves. Biff Pocorobo. I've got a couple of his baseball cards from the 70s. I don't know how you can go wrong with Richard Garage. I'm instantly a middle school kid.
Come on, Joe. I got to watch Yellowstone before I go to bed. Let's go.
Instantly a middle school kid. Team stats in this game. Total yards, San Francisco 49ers 239. The Buffalo Bills 372. Passing yards 86. The Bills 152. Rushing yards, the Niners had 153 to the Bills 220. Yards per play 5.1. Bills 6.6 per play. First downs 15 to 19 for the Buffalo Bills. Third down efficiency 3 of 10 for the Niners, which is not good. 6 of 12, again, 50%. There's that magical number that we've talked about for a couple of weeks, right? Through a couple of these wins, the Bills at 50%. Fourth down efficiency, 1 for 1 for both teams. Total plays, 56 for the Bills, 47 for the Niners. Sacks allowed, 2 for the Niners, 0 for the Bills. Punts, 3 and 3. Penalties. Oh, let's go back on the punts thing. The Bills I believe it was the third or the fourth quarter, trot out Tyler Bass on a 4th down. A normal day, it's field goal range. why do that to your kicker? Why not just run a 4th down play? You're up by 3
because
scores.
he wanted everybody to play. That's why.
But Tyler Bass had made a couple of kicks, and he had
I'm
made
being
all of his extra
facetious.
points. Like,
Yeah, I'm being
I know
facetious.
you're being facetious, but people are
I
going to
think
hold
you
that
look-
against him.
I think you look forward to inclement weather, right? Like get out there, get your footing on a long kick. Just see if you can get the footing. Do we clear the ground right? You know, get the snap, get the hold, take a stroke at it. I think it's fine. I mean, I would have punted, but I'm not like my thong is not in a knot over that.
They weren't in punt range, but run a 4th down play. What does it matter?
Oh,
right?
I agree.
I mean, you're going to give the ball away 7 yards behind the current line of scrimmage anyway. So why not just run a play? If you get 2 yards, great. Versus, hey, Tyler, why don't you go out there and miss a field goal so that the Bills Mafia can hold that against you? I didn't like that of the entire game. That might have been the only moment that I was like, I could have done without that. Right? Sorry.
That's fair.
Yeah, penalties 2 for 10. There were the Bills had 5 for 35, and that was with having their first penalty in the 3rd quarter. Is that right? 3rd or 4th quarter. Fumbles lost 3 for the Niners. Interceptions thrown 0 and 0. Time of possession 33 for the Bills, 33 and a half, 26 and a half for the 49ers. Any comments? Any expounding that you want to do on any of those stats?
I have to say, the stat that I'm paying the most attention to now is 3rd down conversions. I'm looking at that. I'm looking at running, right, and turnovers.
Yeah.
Get 100 yards by 1 guy, 2 guys, 3 guys, what have you, but be at 50% or greater in 3rd down conversions. So I've been looking at that every game, college, pro, how they doing on 3rd down conversions.
Yeah, agreed. I love this comment from Dano. Dano, welcome to the show. I've not seen your name before, so that doesn't mean you haven't been here. I just haven't seen you. So welcome. John and Jerry. Really, the players have to realize who their quarterback is. Don't you walk into the locker room and go, damn, our quarterback is that guy. And I think you both can speak to this.
Well, we did that with a lot of guys. I mean, we played with Bruce Smith. We played with Thurman Thomas, Jim Kelly. And and I love this game. I love football. And honestly, I've met some guys that played at the same time I played. And when I meet them, I still get a little like, it's like meeting your favorite rock star. I'm like, oh my God. I got to meet LaDainian Tomlinson, and I was like, dude, that guy, I just loved watching him play. So you walk in the locker room, you're like, yeah, it's Jim Kelly right over there. It's Thurman Thomas. It's Bruce Smith. Yeah, I know those guys. It's a pretty freaking cool. It is cool. Day in and day out, it was pretty damn cool.
One of my favorite John Fina moments, if you don't mind, John, is when we were at the Kelly Gala and Anthony Munoz was there, and John was like fangirled immediately. Oh my God, like that's Anthony Munoz. And then when you walked up to him and Anthony was like, "Hey, John," look at your face. He knew your name. You were like, "Oh,
Jerry." I went, Anthony Munoz knows my name. Anthony Munoz knows my name. There was a tear.
It was a great moment. It was a great moment. So, Jerry, what are your thoughts on that whole comment of like that dude plays quarterback for us because you played with Jim Kelly? Doug Flutie, as much as he was a legend of the game in this football game, obviously it was a very embattled and kind of like weird situation when he was here and you guys were blocking for him, right? But do you walk in the locker room and be like, that dude's not human?
Yeah, when you see him make some of the plays he makes like he did tonight, but it's after a while, it's one of those things where you are amazed sometimes, but you're with them every day. And I mean, you know, they know a different side of it that, as a player, you know a different side of those guys than other people do. So,
super good. On this program, we don't do thumbs up, thumbs down. We don't do arrow up, arrow down. We give away Dude Awards. And the Dude Award is effectively, dude, great job in a win. So you are the guy that came out and just did awesome. And in a loss, you are the dude. You got to be better than that. So we are going to give away our Dude Awards in this program, which is a winning version, an AFC East champion, 5-time in a row AFC East champion Dude Award. Who wants to go first? Jerry, you're waving, or John, you're waving your hand. You want to go first?
I'll go first, but the caveat for people who might be on the show or listening for the first time is we don't give it to Josh Allen because that dude is a dude.
So the Dude Award trophy is Josh Allen.
It just keeps going. Right?
We give trophies of Josh Allen away to other members of the football team.
Yes.
So it can go to so many people, but a guy that I've, been a little bit critical of, expected more from, who's having a really solid year and made some pretty cool plays today, pursuing the ball. I just got to say, Greg Rousseau, hell of a game. You came up big, and he has been coming up big all year. So I got my eye on him, and he continues to deliver. So Greg Rousseau, dude.
Groot. Jerry.
It's kind of like the movie 16 Candles, when my man goes to the window and he's like, "You'll never believe this. It's the coolest thing ever." And the two dudes go, "Extraterrestrial?" He's like, "No, cooler than that." They go, he goes, "No, cooler than that." And he goes, "Female extraterrestrial?"
Exactly.
So, anyway, as
What
Joe
was
would
his
say,
name? What was
I
his name?
digress.
What was his
Farmer
name in
Ted.
that movie? Yeah, Farmer Ted. But that Anthony Michael Hall's character, but he's like, whatever. Bill, that's the prom queen. We're all old, is what this basically means.
My dude award goes to the guy that probably, until he got to Buffalo, never saw snow before, let alone played in it. 14 carries, 107 yards for a 7-yard average with a touchdown. I believe that huge run by James Cook kind of blew this game open and changed the momentum to the Bills sideline the rest of the night. So my dude award is James Cook. Amazingly, James is only averaging about 57 yards a game, which is kind of wild to think about. It just kind of shows you just along the lines of like our receivers, the everybody eats. You look at the stat line tonight, and you got Cook for 107 yards, Davis for 63, Johnson for 28, and, Josh for 18. So they've got that kind of group mentality running the ball as well. But my dude's James Cook, because in treacherous weather, he blew it open with that huge run and had a big game tonight. So James Cook, dude award.
Yeah, they talked about it on the broadcast that generally speaking, you play the 49ers, you're effectively in a real good situation or a normal situation. You're game planning for McCaffrey, right? If you play the Ravens, you're game planning for Henry. If you're playing the Eagles, you're game planning for Barkley. And with the Buffalo Bills, it's like, who do you game plan for? You're just watching film on everybody. It's a pretty. What do you, as offensive lineman, what do you attribute that to? Is that Joe Brady? Is that the offensive line? Is that the 3 running backs, or is it all the above? Not everybody at once.
No,
I stumped them. Finally, I stumped them.
No,
I just think that they have been historically this season picking the right run schemes for the defenses that we're playing. And we're plugging and playing the guys that are having success. And when nobody's having great success, we're rolling them a little bit to see who will catch fire. And I think as long as that room of 3 guys can keep it together and be okay with that, I think they feed off one another.
I like it.
Winning cures all, Joe.
Yeah, it's true. You're
winning
definitely
cures
not wrong.
all.
You're definitely not
cut
wrong.
on my finger right here. I don't know how the running is going to help with that.
For my dude award, there were 2 pivotal plays. The one Jerry spoke of, James Cook's, how long was it? 74, 75 yards?
Yeah.
However long it was. 150 yard run. I don't think that's possible, John. But as far as that goes, the other one for me was Taylor Rapp. Taylor Rapp has quietly just put an incredible season together for the Buffalo Bills. And I think this is a culmination dude award. And Spence and I did a bi-week awards thing, and Taylor Rapp was one of my award recipients. But for this game, that punch out at the goal line, I'm not saying the game was still kind of like in jeopardy at that point, or the outcome was in the balance, but they were there, and that football was going to the end zone, and Taylor Rapp peanut punches it out, right? He's just Dan Fates, who has obviously been on the Beat program several times. When that happened, he tweeted out Taylor Rapp ? That's not how you spell Micah Hyde, right? Because that's what we're kind of expecting out of these guys. We want Micah Hyde, and meanwhile, Taylor Rapp is giving us a lot of that performance. He has been amazingly solid back there, and he did it again in this football game, even to the point of last game against the Chiefs getting a penalty for a penalty he did not commit when it came to a roughing personal foul penalty, right? So anything on Taylor Rapp for you guys?
No, I just think that safety room in general is a pleasant surprise. I mean, look at DeMar Hamlin, the way he's playing.
Yeah, for sure.
Just both guys. I mean, heck, DeMar's play has been so good. He ran a Super Bowl champion veteran off the team. You know, it's been really, really good. Probably one of the biggest surprises, if not the biggest surprise on the team this season. And the one thing that's probably really solidified that defense is the way that safety room's performed.
It was said on the show tonight, like that was the biggest concern we had, right? Was the safeties. Is Micah Hyde coming back to this football team? Where are you guys at on that? I thought for sure 100% it was happening. You don't think so?
I don't think so, but I'll say that the safeties are having a good time because our cornerbacks are playing mad football right now.
Yeah, Christian Benford, man, I wanted him to get that touch. I wanted him to score so bad on the intercept or fumble recovery, right? Which was the Taylor Rapp punch out. So I wanted him to get it so bad. I think Rasul Douglas wanted him to get it too. But I'm gonna get us out of here. It's been a great show. Thank you so much. There's a whole bunch of people watching live, and appreciate every single one of you guys. This was a great football game. It was fun, right? This is one of those ones that's going to go down in the memory banks. Any final comments before I get us out of here?
Nope. Got a couple. Well, I guess I do. Now I said nope and started talking. Rams in Detroit. I think one of the things about Milano playing tonight and playing a lot is I don't want them to forget Dorian. They need to make sure Dorian stays locked in, because I really truly believe, even though they don't want to do it, they might need to pull out that 4-3 look with those three linebackers on the field at the same time, especially playing against a team like Detroit. So they need to make sure they keep him locked in and attentive, so to speak.
Agreed.
5-time AFC East champs, baby. God, it feels good to say it, doesn't it?
Consecutive.
5 in a row. 5 in a row.
Yeah, I don't feel like we've reached the point of hatred that the Patriots were at with us and like the Dolphins and the Jets, but we've got to be getting close, right? We've got to be getting close. I don't know. Ladies and gentlemen, you've been tuned into the Overreaction Buffalo Postgame Show, brought to you by the BFLO Store, the official retail outlet for the Buffalo Bills, powered by Believe on the Overreaction Sports Network, powered by Believe. Sorry, first time saying that. Actually, it's the second time. First one at the top of the show. But we appreciate every single one of you guys joining us. For me, for John, for Jerry, for all of us here at the Overreaction Sports Network. We appreciate you guys. We love you guys. Happy Victory Monday. Go Bills.
Go Bills.
Much love. Go Bills.
Go Bills.